Yo, what is up, people on the internet? I would like to apologize. It's been a minute since the last video. I got a new welding job and I also went and climbed a mountain. But today, besides that, we're going to be working on the 240 once again. Today, we are actually going to be putting this puppy in. So we're going to be converting my chassis to manual. So if you're like me, you ended up with a automatic 240 because they're just a little bit cheaper to get, but there's a little bit more legwork and you got to spend the money on the parts. But, you know, for me, of course, it might be a little bit different for you because I have the SR swap. You might still be running KA. It's a very, very similar process. Some of the stuff is exactly the same. I mean, it pretty much, it's the same. So we have to drill a hole in the firewall, of course, for the clutch master. That's the big thing. We have the transmission, that's got to go in. And now I have everything pulled out. I already have the automatic transmission, all that crap pulled out. So that's step one. That's the easy part. You just yank all that crap out. So you will need a certain set of things. You're definitely going to need a set of hole saw bits. There's a specific size, and I will tell you once I figure it out which one it is. I can't remember. You will need a clutch master. You will need a clutch pedal. And you don't necessarily need the brake pedal, but you know, you can chop down the automatic one. They are wider, so you can chop that down. But I found a whole pull set, a part set of, you know, it came with everything. So these can be pricey, so just kind of look out for a deal or bite the bullet. Of course, we're putting in a new slave. We have the clutch fork. The transmission mount is actually different, so you'll have to get a manual transmission mount if you don't get one with your transmission. And of course, you need the clutch, flywheel, new mount, lines, simple stuff. If you're manual swapping your 240 and you're keeping the KA, you're going to need a manual ECU, and of course you need a manual drive shaft. The automatic and manual drive shafts for the S13s are different, so you will also need one of those. But first thing, we're going to start working on the firewall, and we're going to cut that hole in the firewall. All right, so if you come down underneath your dash and you look up to the left, you will see that on the firewall, it's actually already stamped out. You just need to drill the hole. So I've gone ahead and I've already drilled my pilot hole. I'm using the 1.5" hole saw here. So we are now going to go over to the other side and drill through with the right angle drill. Now, just like that, we have the hole cut. A little bit of shavings in the engine bay. We'll have to clean those out. But now we have to drill the hole for the bolts. So we'll grab our bit and we will do that. Just like that, now we have all our holes drilled. So next step is we're going to switch out the brake pedal. Go ahead and rip this out. That's simple. And then we'll put the new one in, followed by plugging in all of our clutch stuff underneath here. Alrighty, we have the automatic brake pedal out. Time to put in the new manual brake pedal. It's pretty simple. A couple 12mm bolts up underneath the dash. I also had to drop the steering column. There may have been a way to finagle it out, but I have everything kind of pulled apart right now anyways. But this allowed it to drop through down through this little gap here. So we will chuck this one in now. Alrighty, brake pedal, brake master, everything is back in along with the steering columns. And now we finally get to put in our clutch pedal and master cylinder. Two little studs down there. All right, clutch master is bolted up. This bolt back here is really hard to get to, so I had to do a little teeny tiny 16th of a turn with the boxed end on the 12 mil. But one more bolt on the top of the pedal bracket, and then it'll all be good, which will then be moving on to the next big part of this. In the last clip, we finished putting in the clutch master as well as the clutch pedal. That clip was actually 6 months ago, so some time has passed, and the car still sits here. So time has passed, but progress hasn't. We got Trent here today with me now. There's my big puppy. I got a puppy. A lot happened since the last clip. A lot. So, but we're still doing the manual swap. I have the transmission and everything set up here, as well as the manual drive shaft that I acquired. We went ahead and we already put in the flywheel and clutch and pressure plate. If you were following along with this as like a tutorial, this is like any other clutch job. I mean, you just put her on like any other clutch. So next step though is bombing in the transmission. So we're finally actually going to put the 5-speed in. I also got a bunch of goodies from GK Tech to do the shifter. So I got the rubber, the metal plate that holds it to the trans tunnel, a regular shift boot, as well as the center console shift boot retainer for a manual. So let's get on to that.
Yeah.
Say I've got it balanced on the front so you can go up.
Okay.
Ready? Yep. So, now that we're both winded, if you got anything out of that short little clip, we spent the last 10, 12 minutes struggling with this because I thought it would be a good idea to set the SR, because I have new motor mounts, set those as high as possible because I want to keep my oil pan as high as possible, but that makes it extremely hard to get the transmission in because the transmission is hitting on the top of the tunnel, if that makes sense. So now we have to raise the SR up. I was gonna have to do that anyways, but now we have to do that to even just get the transmission on. So this is a whole nother extra step. But I think I need a little pick-me-up.
Yeah, I could use something.
Let me think of the right spot. Boom. Got some Pop-Tarts. Shout out my uncle for letting us work in the garage, or letting me work in the garage for almost 2 years now, because this thing's been an ongoing project. But shout out for the Pop-Tarts too. I haven't had Pop-Tarts in a long time. Oh yeah. All right, just messed with this. This took too long because the washer was messed up. But Trent's back under the car, and we're gonna slang this thing up in there because looks like it's gonna work. Move towards the driver's side of the car. Move the tail end to the proper side. Ooh.
Oh.
All right. Alrighty. So it has been a while. We've been struggling. You can see the engine is out of the car because we've been fighting it and fighting it. Don't know why it won't fit up. We get it in, doesn't move. Spin it, doesn't move, won't spin, won't turn. And so we say, hell with it. The motor was kind of just sitting in there. Nothing was really hooked up. Pull this thing out. And so here's a dowel pin. And you look at the transmission, and there's a dowel pin snapped. So it wouldn't seat fully. That's why we've been struggling.
Yeah, we were down there for a little while.
Way too long. Feel really, really dumb. This is...
I'll have to get an extractor set or something.
Oh no, buddy. No way. This is getting fixed real quick. Alrighty. We struggled quite a bit, but we finally got her up on there and mounted up. All the bolts are in. They were definitely a pain in the arse, but we made it. We made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bitch.
That's our good.
Shove one in.
All right, you're good. Just like that, we have the mounting bolts for the transmission bracket. The transmission bracket was like a little twisted. I don't know. I got this from a parts car off of eBay kind of thing, so maybe it was wrecked or something. Who knows?
That was another bitch.
Yeah, and I'm missing a bolt, so I gotta find that or order one. The next step would be the drive shaft. So it's actually pretty simple. It's just you slip the yoke in, you put your center carrier bearing bracket here, which actually I'm missing, and then it's those 4 bolts there. So like pretty much every other 2-piece drive shaft, I don't have the center carrier bearing bracket. We're gonna go topside and we're gonna throw the shifter in and everything. So
yeah,
it'll actually
look weird now.
Yeah, it'll look like a manual car.
Never would have thought.
Climb in here. Imagine that didn't fit. We've got to take the transmission out. There's that piece. For the time being, the Tomei goes back on. See how this feels. I'm way too low. Hold on, let me get a seat. Ah! God. There we go. This is about something.
Feel good?
Yeah, not too bad. Somehow I managed to lose the outro clip. So basically me and Trent just said we have lots of parts stacked up for the 240 and the CRX. I pretty much ordered everything to finish the 240. So we'll actually have that going here really soon. As well as we're gonna be working on the CRX. Lots of stuff planned for that. We also said do the normal YouTube stuff if you want, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Helps us out. Hit up the Instagram and yeah. So see you in the next one. Peace.